What a night in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. As the final whistle blew on England's dramatic 3-2 victory over Mexico, the scenes across England were nothing short of extraordinary. At the famous Box Park watch party in London, fans erupted in celebration at nearly 4:10 in the morning. Nobody was thinking about sleep. For many supporters, it was straight from the celebrations to work, as England booked their place in the World Cup quarter-finals for the third consecutive tournament. This was not just a football match. It was a test of character, resilience, and belief. After the game, England captain Harry Kane could barely speak. His voice was almost completely gone after one of the most intense matches of his career. Asked about the scenes near England's goal after the final whistle, Kane briefly addressed concerns over Jordan Henderson before reflecting on the performance itself. "It was a crazy game," he admitted. "Everything seemed to be against us, but we found a way." And that perfectly summed up England's night. From controversial refereeing decisions to playing with 10 men, England faced challenge after challenge. Yet every time Mexico threatened to take control, England responded. Kane himself questioned the penalty decision awarded against his side, believing he had won the ball fairly, but in the end, none of that mattered. England had survived. The post-match analysis team was unanimous in their praise. Thierry Henry highlighted England's mentality, pointing out that despite all the talk about altitude, conditions, and pressure, football still comes down to performance on the pitch. According to Henry, England's response after going down to 10 men was especially impressive, as they actually raised their level when the pressure intensified. Zlatan Ibrahimovic offered perhaps the most memorable assessment of the evening. "Losers have excuses. Winners have answers. England gave us answers tonight." He praised manager Thomas Tuchel's tactical adjustments, particularly the decision to switch to a more defensive setup in the second half. Against a relentless Mexican attack, England showed discipline, organization, and tremendous spirit. At the center of it all were England's biggest stars. If it wasn't Harry Kane producing moments of brilliance, it was Jude Bellingham. The young midfielder delivered another world-class performance, combining intelligence, leadership, and relentless energy. Meanwhile, Jordan Pickford produced several crucial saves, keeping England alive during Mexico's periods of dominance. The statistics tell part of the story. Mexico delivered an incredible 49 crosses into England's penalty area. Yet England's defense, led by outstanding performances across the backline, somehow held firm when it mattered most. After Kane converted his penalty to make it 3-1, many believed the game was over. But Mexico fought back to make it 3-2, setting up a nerve-shredding finish. England, however, refused to break. Former England legends praised the team's resilience, with many suggesting that this could be the performance that defines their tournament. Winning while playing beautifully is one thing. Winning while suffering, adapting, and overcoming adversity is something entirely different. Now, England move on to a massive quarter-final showdown against Norway in Miami, setting up a blockbuster battle between Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. If Thomas Tuchel was right when he said the world would see the real England as the tournament progressed, then perhaps this unforgettable night against Mexico was the moment England truly announced themselves as genuine contenders for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. As the clock pushed well past 3 a.m. back in England, nobody seemed to care about the hour. Millions of fans remained glued to their screens, witnessing what had become one of the most dramatic nights of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Deep inside the iconic Estadio Azteca, England had just survived a thrilling battle with Mexico, and the celebrations back home were already in full swing. England's reward for their dramatic victory is a blockbuster quarter-final showdown against Norway. But before looking ahead to Erling Haaland and company, there is still so much to unpack from a match that tested England in every possible way. Perhaps no player experienced a more difficult evening emotionally than Jarell Quansah. Early in the second half, England's task became significantly harder after Quansah was shown a red card, reducing the Three Lions to 10 men. The decision itself appeared clear. The challenge was high, reckless, and ultimately worthy of dismissal. But while the call may have been correct, there was tremendous sympathy for the young defender. Former players speaking after the match acknowledged the psychological toll of such a moment. Sitting in the dressing room while your teammates fight to rescue the game is one of the worst feelings a footballer can experience. Fortunately for Kwanzaa, England's resilience ensured that his mistake would not define their World Cup campaign. At halftime, the atmosphere inside the Azteca was already electric. Mexico, hosting their first World Cup knockout match at the stadium in decades, had created an environment unlike any other in international football. Rain had soaked the supporters before kickoff, but by halftime, celebrations, tension, and emotion had replaced the weather as the defining story of the night. The opening half delivered everything football fans could have hoped for. Mexico's Raúl Jiménez nearly opened the scoring with a powerful header, only to be denied by a spectacular save from Jordan Pickford. It was the first sign that England's goalkeeper was destined for a special performance. Then came England's breakthrough. The opening goal was a masterclass in movement and football intelligence. Harry Kane attacked the near post, intentionally dragging defenders away from danger. That movement created the space for Jude Bellingham, arriving perfectly at the far post to head home Bukayo Saka's brilliant cross. It was a sequence that showcased exactly why Kane and Bellingham have become one of international football's most dangerous partnerships. England doubled their advantage shortly afterward through another moment of exceptional awareness. Kane, rather than forcing a difficult chance for himself, recognized Bellingham's supporting run and created the opportunity for the midfielder to strike again. It was selfless, intelligent football at the highest level. But Mexico refused to disappear. Julian Quiñones capitalized on a defensive mistake to pull one back before halftime, igniting the Azteca crowd and shifting momentum toward the hosts. Mexico continued to push forward, forcing Pickford into another series of outstanding saves that kept England in front. At halftime, the consensus among analysts was clear: excuses no longer mattered. Questions about altitude, weather conditions, and hostile environments had dominated pre-match discussions. But once the whistle blows, football remains about execution, mentality, and performance. As Zlatan Ibrahimovic put it perfectly, weak people have excuses. Strong people have solutions. England were finding solutions. Thomas Tuchel's tactical decisions also came under the spotlight. His choice to start Anthony Gordon on the left and Bukayo Saka on the right provided England with pace, width, and attacking balance. Saka, in particular, was outstanding, constantly stretching Mexico's defense and creating dangerous opportunities. Former England players also praised the build-up to Bellingham's first goal. The move began with Jordan Pickford's distribution, continued through Declan Rice's powerful midfield run, and was finished by the intelligent movement of Kane, Bellingham, and Saka. It was a goal that reflected preparation, chemistry, and trust. As the game wore on and England were forced to defend with 10 men, the character of this team became impossible to ignore. They bent but refused to break. This was more than just a victory. This was a statement. England arrived in Mexico facing questions about their mentality, their defense, and their ability to handle pressure. They leave the Azteca with answers. And now, with a quarter-final against Norway awaiting them, belief across England has never been stronger. What a first half we witnessed at the iconic Estadio Azteca. England came into this round of 16 clash knowing they would face one of the toughest atmospheres in world football, and for long stretches of that opening 45 minutes, they rose to the occasion in spectacular fashion. The breakthrough goal was a thing of beauty and showcased exactly why England's attacking setup can be so dangerous when everything clicks. We've talked throughout this tournament about the importance of having wingers who are willing to take defenders on the outside rather than constantly cutting inside. Bukayo Saka delivered exactly that. His brilliant run and perfectly weighted cross created the opportunity, but the movement inside the box was equally impressive. Harry Kane's intelligence cannot be overstated. As England's number 9 attacked the near post, he deliberately dragged defenders with him, creating the space that Jude Bellingham needed at the back post. Bellingham timed his run perfectly and powered home a superb header. It was a goal built on chemistry, movement, and football intelligence at the highest level. Then, just 98 seconds later, England struck again. This second goal may have been even more impressive. England's pressing was perfectly timed. Curtis Jones and Anthony Gordon applied immediate pressure, forcing Mexico into a mistake. When the ball broke kindly for Bellingham, everyone inside the stadium expected Harry Kane to pull the trigger himself. Instead, The England captain showed incredible awareness, slipping a perfectly weighted pass into Bellingham's path for a simple finish. It was another example of why Kane and Bellingham have developed into one of the most dangerous partnerships in international football. At 2-0, England appeared to have silenced the famous Azteca crowd. But World Cup football rarely follows the script. Mexico responded brilliantly. A somewhat soft free kick allowed them to build momentum, and Julian Quiñones capitalized with a clinical finish that reignited the stadium and shifted the atmosphere entirely. Suddenly, England found themselves under immense pressure. The confidence and control they had shown for much of the half were replaced by a desperate battle to reach halftime with their lead intact. And this is where Jordan Pickford stepped up. The England goalkeeper delivered what may go down as one of the saves of the tournament. Raúl Jiménez connected beautifully with a powerful header that looked destined for the corner of the net, but Pickford's positioning, timing, and composure were absolutely world-class. What made the save even more impressive was how calm he remained throughout the movement. Rather than throwing himself at the ball, he waited, trusted his technique, and produced a save worthy of the biggest stage in world football. Mexico continued to create opportunities. Set pieces, crosses, and second balls repeatedly tested England's concentration. There were moments when England looked vulnerable, and there will certainly be areas for Thomas Tuchel and his coaching staff to address at halftime. However, there was also plenty to admire. England showed bravery in possession. Declan Rice drove the team forward from midfield. Bukayo Saka consistently stretched Mexico's defense. Harry Kane's movement and decision-making were exceptional. And Jude Bellingham once again demonstrated why he is rapidly becoming one of the defining players of this World Cup. Thomas Tuchel's assistant, Anthony Barry, summed it up perfectly at halftime. England expected to suffer in the opening stages. They expected Mexico to start fast. The plan was to survive the early storm, grow into the game, and allow their quality players to make the difference. So far, that strategy had worked. But with Mexico energized by their late goal and the Azteca crowd fully behind them once again, England knew that the second half would demand even greater resilience, concentration, and character if they were to keep their World Cup dream alive.